I'm sure we all want that. Okay. Okay, so what are we going to talk about? Now, if we want health, right? What exactly is health? So we're going to talk about that. And if you want to know health, then you got to understand what exactly is the human body, okay, or the human being, you know. So do we really know? Yeah. And then there are a lot of advice out there. There are a lot of solutions out there. Sometimes it can be pretty confusing. Who should I listen to? Who is correct and all that? So we are going to explore that today. Now, then if you're sick, we also want to find out what makes you sick. So we are going to explore some of the factors that you have heard of a lot, but today is really to put on your thinking cap to explore exactly which are the areas that you have actually explored, which are the aspect of your health, the factors that you have not explored, and maybe it's time to look at it in totality rather than in parts. You know, we all like this part, that part, we compartmentalize everything, but actually everything are related and they are all unified. Okay, then the last part will be talking about using Healy and MAGHEALY programs to reverse our sickness. Okay, all right, yeah. So is the problem superficial and obvious? You know, when you think of, let's say you have a neck issue, whether you have a back issue, you know, or you have a knee problems, you know, is it a superficial problem? What you see is what you get, or what you see or what you feel is not what it is. Okay, a knee problem is actually not a knee problem. Okay, yeah, so it can be that confusing. Okay, now how do we see the human body? I'm going to explore different ways that we see the human body, and you may have heard of this before, that we say that the human body is a machine. Yeah, long ago we treat the human body as if it's a car, as if it's a computer, as if it's a bicycle, you know. Yeah, a machine. Okay, now how do we know that we treat the body as a machine? All right, when parts are broken, okay, oh, it can be repaired. Oh, I can just have a surgery and I can cut here, cut there and all that, and then sew everything together. Okay, yeah, so surgery is one way of looking at the human body as a machine. Now, parts of the body, okay, take a look at this. There are now so many body parts that can be artificially made. Okay, so if your valve got problem, I replace it with a plastic valve. If your knee got problem, I can give you an artificial knee and then replace it with knees and joint. Correct or not? And I can, what else can we do? All right, so we can use screw. Okay, if you have hearing issue, we can give you a hearing aid. So when we do all this, are we solving the problem or are we not solving the problem? In a way, we are solving problem at the machine level, the machinery level, but on another level, we are not really solving it, because if you remove the hearing aid, can you hear? You can't hear. So the problem is still there. All right. Now, there are times when we would need this kind of solutions. Okay, for example, a person is knocked down by a car and then therefore lost the function of the limb, and therefore giving an artificial limb is good because it actually restored the function. So in that way, under that situation, it is a solution, but sometimes it is not the entire solution. All right, so if we look at the machine, is the body as a machine, this is what we'll do to the body. Okay, this is how we will solve the problems in the body, by replacing the biological parts with either plastic parts, metal parts, okay, other things. All right, we find a replacement. Now, sometimes we look at the body as chemical. Okay, if you can't sleep, All right, I'll give you melatonin in a pill form, right? So you don't have the chemical, I give you the chemical, and voila, after taking one pill that night, you have such a good sleep. So does it solve your problem? Yes, in a way, because you have replaced the chemical, but no. If I remove that, the problem still exists. So it's not a permanent solution, correct or not? So insulin, if a person is diabetic, all right, then you give them insulin, they jab the insulin, their blood sugar went back to normal, and they could eat whatever that they want. Okay, so have you solved the problem? Okay, so if we are doing this, we are actually seeing the body as a chemical body. All right, so whatever chemicals that is lacking, put it there, replace it, and then voila, okay, you are back to normal. Now there is another way of looking at the body, okay, and we say that the body is genetic because of the gene it contains. So the gene codes for the protein. So when you express everything, the human body is like this because of that. So if you have certain illness, sickness, and all that is because of your genes. Yeah. So everything is genetic. So we do what? We do gene therapy. Yeah. So we believe that, okay, the information in the genetic code is mutated, is faulty, and therefore, okay, so it affects the protein that is formed. Okay, if you have this, is because, you know, blame the genes, right? You have bad genes. Okay, so what do? We do what? Gene therapy, right? So we get a good healthy genes, and then we replace your faulty gene, and voila, okay, you can be back to normal again. So at one period of time is a lot of focus on genetics, isn't it? Yeah, so how you can actually change your genes, okay, and then you can design your entire human being, how you want your offspring to look like. Okay, you can do all your gene selection and everything. So at one period of time it was that, okay, genetics. Now, in the more recent years, you will see this. The human body now is back to biology, from physics to chemistry. Now is biology. Okay, you cannot take like that. You know, you cause imbalance and disturbance. You know, you have to eat what? You are what you eat. So therefore, what happens? You have to eat good food. Must be organic, you know those pesticides. These are the ones that actually kill you and cause you to fall sick. So you have to eat expensive, high grade, good quality meat, vegetables, fresh air, you know, clean water. So everything, you know. So at one period of time, it was what? A lot of filters, right? Water filters, a lot of all sorts of things. Okay, yeah, whole food, and then what else? Green juice and everything. So everything must be whole. So when we do that, we are actually seeing the body as biology, you know, using something living, a living thing, to exchange, replenish what is in our body. Okay, so if you take on this particular view of your body, then what you do? Then you will blame all this alcohol, smoking, all this terrible lifestyle, okay, because you do that. So that's why you get all your sickness. If you are eating processed food, unhealthy water, drinks, and all that, so that's why you get sick. Okay, and then don't sleep at night, working late at night, lifestyle, all these choices are making you sick. Therefore, you got to change all this, you know. Yeah. So that is what you will do if you believe that. All right. So now we go into what? The next level, which is now energetic. That means your body is actually energetic. You know, look at all your chakra, look at all your meridian. So you are not physical form. You are actually energetic. So this is now is propagating. So now we are entering into the next era where you hear a lot of all these things already, right? So if you are energetic, means what? Then it will be information, how you perceive information. And then the information will cause blockage, block your chakra, block your meridian, you know, then your blood cannot flow, etc., and therefore give you problems. Okay, so it will be emotions, bad emotions, that is causing all the problems in your health. Yeah. Then if you progress into quantum physics now, oh, the human body is information. Okay, yeah. So your information. Actually, information means what? This screen actually should be entirely black. Means you cannot see, That means I can't see you, you can't see me because you are just a package of information. Yeah, but I didn't put it black because you all will thought that something is wrong with the Zoom and transmission. So that's why I put the universe. So once you are information, what does it mean if your body is actually information? Okay, it means that you become formless. That means you are waves, formless, timeless. Okay, what's the meaning of formless? You know air, right? When you talk about air is formless. Okay, but it has molecules inside. It's not totally empty, it's not vacuum, but it fills every container. Okay, yeah. So if we are information, we exist in electromagnetic waves, is actually formless, invisible, you can't see. That means you feel, F-I-L-L, you fill up everything. So that means you are not contained just in this human body, but you are much expanded, You can expand all the way into the universe, all the way into the entire cosmos. So you are that, okay? Huge, formless. You take up the entire whatever space that there is. And it's also timeless, meaning that the information that is contained in your body is not just this lifetime. That means the information that is contained in you right now is an accumulation of information of the past, accumulate until now. And whatever that you do now, this set of information will continue on, okay, even when you are outside of this physical form, okay, timeless, okay, that means it's no time scale, all right, yeah. So who is right, who is wrong? Okay, so what exactly are you? All right, so we are everything. We are everything. So what I want to say today is we are all. You are physics, you are chemistry, you are biology, you are energy, you are also quantum physics, all in one. So when we first started is because of the understanding of science, we see things as big first, right? All the big things first, and then later on, oh, got microscope, then we can see the cell and everything. So we progress actually from the macro, the body, and then after that we talk about organ health. Then after that we talk about cellular health. After cellular health we talk about molecules, and then after molecules we talk about atom. After atom, now we talk about smaller than atom will be quantum physics, consciousness. Okay, no? Yeah. So if we just look at our body alone, we can accept that we are physics, chemistry, and bio all in one. Okay, but there are other dimensions. Okay, so there is the energetic dimension here, there is the information dimension here, and there is the consciousness dimension here. All right, so each of us, okay, is all of this level at the same time. Okay, so we can actually move through all these levels anytime we want. Okay, so when we look at the human body here, okay, we can try to look beyond just the physical body here, which is our dimension 3. We can actually expand. So when I talk about health today, I'm not just talking about the physical health, I'm talking about all the different dimensions of your health, okay, the information that you carry. So at the end of the day, what I want to say here and what I want to present here today is probably an idea that not many of us embrace, okay, is that we are information. So information makes you sick. Information can also make you healthy. All right. So how do we look at diseases now? Are we going to look at diseases and be afraid of it, or are we going to look at sickness and diseases as, okay, that is information? All right. So bad information leads to eye problem, neck issues, and all that. So if I know that that is information, then the counter suggestion would be to change the information. Okay, change the information. So now, where is the information? So the information is everywhere, everywhere. The information is in the information field, which is anywhere in your surrounding. Okay, the other set of information is actually inside you, your body. All right, so the body actually keeps all the information that you have ever received in your lifetime. Okay, now this is mentioned by Dr. Bessel van der Kolk. So what happens here is, when he looked at people with trauma, okay, he found that the trauma that they went through, whether at the age of 3 or 7, 12, and all that, okay, it is actually kept in the body. Okay, it didn't go anywhere, but it gets stuck in the body. So that's why at the older age, or some of them never get out of it, some of them has these kind of trauma still playing out in their lives, okay, throughout lives. So what we need to do is we need to release the information in the body and then replace it with another set of information. Okay, now it's not just a Western perspective, but in the traditional Chinese medicine, we also have the same concept. And now you will find this concept also. You can just Google mind-body connection or mind-body interaction. You'll find this everywhere. So it is actually a universal understanding that the mind, which I put it as the organ that processes your thoughts and your feelings, okay, is connected and talking to the body. Okay or not? Yeah. So what is emotion? Our feelings and emotions is basically interpretation of information. So let's say, right, if your husband say, I'm coming back late tonight. I'm not having dinner. I'm coming back after probably 10 or 11 o'clock. So it's basically a neutral piece of information, right? But this piece of information go through different brains, different mind, can be interpreted differently. One will be so happy, yay, my husband is not coming back for dinner, I don't have to cook. Okay, then you'll be making plans, calling your friend, okay, let's go out. Okay, happy, you can be so happy. Okay, another person would be like, what? You promised your child to actually complete that project and assignment, and tomorrow is the due date and you are supposed to do it tonight and you're not coming back. It's like, oh, I'm so angry. Okay, now, yeah. Another person would start thinking, who is he going out tonight? How come he refused to tell me and give me more information? Okay, now, so is he with another lady? Is he with this colleague? Is he with a person and all that? So you start to either have fear or worry, okay, or sad and all that. So you see, one piece of information is actually a neutral information, but it can be interpreted differently and then it gives rise to different emotions, okay, different feelings. And depending on your feelings, that feelings resonate, okay, or affect certain energetic field more than the others, all right? And they found that the feelings of anger get stuck in the liver. So it affects the liver, all right? So if it's one time, it's okay. But if it's your habit, okay, that is always having a lot of angry feelings, it is going to harm your liver in the long run. And over time, maybe after 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, you will develop certain issues. It can be migraine, high blood pressure, digestive issue, menstrual issues, okay, etc. All right. Now, joy or the lack of joy, and for most of us is more the lack of joy rather than an excess of joy. Okay, it affects the heart. So heart issues will result after a long period of time. It can start with insomnia, okay, then after that is palpitation, irregular heartbeat, and then heart attack. You know, all this will follow after many, many years. Now, grief, sadness through losses, unexpected losses, yeah, all kinds of losses. So it depletes and affects the lungs, okay, affects the lungs. So over time, after a long period of time, it will actually weaken your respiratory system. Okay, it will weaken your immunity. It causes fatigue, skin issues. It's not limited to this. These are just a few for you to relate to. Okay, but the list is a lot longer. Yeah. Then worry actually affects the spleen. It affects your digestion, so you lose your appetite. You know, when you're worried about something, you won't think about eating. So it can cause indigestion, weight issues, water retention issues, muscle tension, and energy. All right, low energy because you can't digest your food. Okay, then fear, deep-seated fear like what? Let's say last week we talked about money, right? So a lack of money, if you're fearful of your future, okay, yeah. So fear affects your urinary system, your reproductive system, your lower back, and fatigue. Okay, yeah. So these are associations, all right? So why you get sick is primarily it actually starts from here. Okay, it starts from your mind. It starts from how you interpret information. Okay, now the other part of the body that actually store your feelings, your emotions, and trauma is actually fascia. Okay, fascia is actually connective tissue. If you do your blue app analysis, and if you find that you keep getting connective tissues, muscles, all this, there is a possibility that emotions are actually stuck there. Okay, so fascia, what is it? You know, the muscles, you always see that almost translucent kind of tissue that wraps around your muscles. Let's say if you are eating chicken or meat, all right, the thin layer of transparent tissues that wraps around it to actually hold the muscles together. All right, so it holds all the bundles of muscles together and therefore gives you the shape. When you see a bodybuilder with all the bulky muscles, you can see all that, right? So it's actually the fascia. All right, your movement now is that layer of tissue is also the layer where nutrients are exchanged. That means the nutrients come out of the blood and then enter the tissue. The lymphatic tissue also do the exchange there. So any of the toxins will actually have to go in to the lymph and it has to pass through this layer of fascia. Nerves, okay, your nerve endings, okay, will actually be touching, all right, and sending the neurotransmitter through this layer of fascia into the muscles. Okay, so it's like a protective layer. It has many functions. Okay, now have you ever used Healy and then after that feels body pain? Okay, you'll find that muscle pain and things like that, as if you have exercised but actually you're just using the Healy. Okay, so if you have ever experienced that, that is actually a process of releasing trauma, okay, stuck emotions actually from your fascia and your muscles. Okay, not? Yeah. So exercise is good. Why is exercise good? Because when you're exercising, you are actually what? Also moving and then squeezing out and pushing out all this. Yeah. So now, what did they find about the fascia? They find that this fascia here actually carries emotional memory. Okay, and you will find that people who are depressed, they tend not to move very much. And it's because they don't move very much, the information is even more stuck in the fascia and cannot come out. So it becomes a vicious cycle. Okay, so trauma caused this fascia, that layer there, to become dense, dehydrated, constricted. Constricted means it wrapped around your muscles even more, okay, leading to stiffness. You'll find that your body is stiff. So you'll find that I don't feel like moving. Actually, the more you feel that your body is stiff, the more you should move, because the stiffness is due to this kind of stuck emotions and feelings in your body. Okay, now the other aspect is the muscles. All right, it also affects the muscles. Muscles also carry emotional memory, and they found that trauma actually caused the muscles to tighten, to build an armor. So it's actually a protective mechanism. Okay, so when a person goes through trauma, the whole body, the muscles actually becomes tightened. So if you feel that your muscles, you start to have muscle ache, shoulders, neck ache, back, leg muscles and all that starting to tighten, and it's not because you are exercising and overstretch it. Okay, there is a possibility of certain emotions that you are going through, maybe a phase of time, and then it is all stuck here. Okay, not? Yeah. So that can actually be the emotions that are stuck there. It's actually to defend. It's a defense mechanism for feelings that are overwhelmed. Okay, if you feel threats and all that, your whole body actually tense up. So therefore, you got to learn how to relax. And if your body is tense for so long, you actually don't realize it. You don't feel it because you thought that this is the norm. Okay, that's one. Now, do you realize that every time you go for a good body massage, you feel so good? Because in the process of doing the massage, you are actually stretching, pulling the muscles so that it can relax. Okay? Yeah, so you are actually pushing out, releasing some of this trauma and emotions that are trapped. So therefore, after that good massage, you find that, wow, your whole body loosen up and then you feel good. Okay, yeah, so this is that. Now, these are some of the emotions that's related to which part of the body is affected. Shame. If the person experiences shame at an early age. Now, what is shame? Shame could be, for example, let's say 2-year-old, 3-year-old, toilet training, right? So some of them, no matter how, they are slow in toilet training, so they can't, and then they still leak, and then they wet the bed, for example. And what do the parents do, or what do the older siblings do? They actually ha 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 ha, you see, yeah, you're still wetting the bed and all that. So that is shaming. Okay, or in front of people, in front of relatives, in front of their friends, you relate the story. For example, they could be in preschool, and then you go to the preschool, you tell your friends, okay, oh, you see, this morning she wet the bed. So this is shaming, early shaming. Okay, yeah, so this is just one example. Of course there are more. Yeah, so it can lead to respiratory issue, chest issue, chest collapse inwards. All right, rage, clenched jaw, fist. So over time, this whole part here just tightened, and then what it can lead to, let's say, clenched jaw at night. You clench your teeth. This whole part here just cannot relax even when you're sleeping at night. Okay, so that is actually anger, suppressed anger. Okay, shoulders here cannot relax, hip problems, all that could be due to trauma as well. Okay, yeah, the nervous system is usually the first thing to be affected in trauma, people who have gone through severe threats in their life, severe fear, extreme guilt, shame, what else? Anger, aggression, harassment, abuse. So their nervous system will be affected. Okay, so that's why it leads on to depression. And another time I'll talk about where in the nervous system it actually has this. Okay, there are structures there, but I need to go into the structures, so I choose not to talk about the structures today, another time. Okay, so it can lead to bowel issues, okay, irritable bowel system, gastric reflux, nausea, bloating. So if there is a perpetual, like no matter how you treat, for example, you have used the chemical method, you have used the biological method and all that, but it still doesn't go away. So there could be something deeper to that problem. Okay, now the other one is information can be found where? Information can be found in water. Okay, so your body is 70 to 80% of water, correct or not? So the information can be found in the water itself, but I'm not talking about that water today. I'm talking about something else. Okay, now water storing information is nothing new, and many would have heard about this discovery by Dr. Masaru Emoto, this Japanese researcher, who actually found that water is structured in a certain manner. All right, so good information, okay, cause the water structure to actually give a beautiful crystal. All right, so bad information, like I will kill you, you know, you make me sick, these are bad information. It carries frequencies that disrupt the arrangement of water molecules to the extent that it cannot form a proper crystal. Okay, so the whole structure is changed. So now what I want to talk about is in the body. Okay, the water is important because water helps our salt, minerals to dissolve. Now, proteins, okay, a lot of our body functions depends on proteins. For example, enzyme is protein, right? Insulin is protein, yeah? So a lot of the hormones, a lot of other proteins actually control whether the gene can turn on or turn off, etc., etc. Is all proteins, okay? Now, if we give our cell bad information, the structure of the water change, and what happens is that it actually interact with the protein. So when the structure of the water in the surrounding change, what happens is that it can actually affect the shape of the proteins. So when it affects the shape, structure, or the stability of the protein, the moment the shape change, it loses its function. Okay, yeah. So you see certain people, right, you ask them to use pure 1 month, and then after that they came back and they reported that, oh, their diabetes is okay already. Okay, so another person heard about it and then also diabetic, also do that, but didn't help. Okay, so why like that? Now, for this first case, it could be just because of the water, the information in the water. So when we use, let's say, a pure program, and the information is actually neutralized, cleared, and the water restructured back to its original good structure. So what happened is the insulin protein or the enzymes and all that automatically go back to its good functional shape, and therefore everything goes back to normal. Okay, for another person it may be different. For another person it may not be as simple as that. For another person is diabetic because the gene is good, but what happened is that the gene cannot open up, okay, make a copy of it and then synthesize insulin. So that method may not work for the person. Okay, so it may need some other programs, okay, maybe 10 or 20 other programs, 20 other users and all that. Much later, then you find it, okay, now it got better. Okay, so we can't see, we can't tell. Okay or not? So that's why we have to depend on the Healy Blue app to actually go and find out where is the problem and solve the problem. Okay, so sometimes a person is diabetic and then you will not see anything that has to do with insulin, okay, and all that, but it will come out like connective tissue, it will come out other weird programs. You just have to trust, because the problem can be anywhere in the body that caused that. So you do not know what is that. So the Blue app, the Analyze app, will have to analyze the person's body to see where the problem is and then solve it from there. Okay? Yeah. Right. Now, so if you look at sickness, diseases and all that, of all the diseases in the world, they found that only 5% is actually due to bad genes. Okay, I'm being generous, I put here 10%. All right, so which means that a lot of the illnesses, sicknesses and all that that is attributed to genes is only 5 to 10%, which means that the rest are actually because of what? The rest are actually because of our bad habits, our bad choices, aging, okay, toxins accumulating in the body, etc. If that is the case, then we can use nurture, right? It's always nature, nurture. If it's not nature, then I can nurture it, right? So then we can use the other methods. We can use the chemical methods. We can use biological methods, energy methods, quantum methods to actually change, all right, to make the improvement. So actually, okay, most of the illnesses are actually aging, or because of all these influences, external influences, rather than mutated genes. Okay, yeah. So now, how do we do it? So when there is a disturbance, here we call it disharmony or imbalance. So what happened is that the field is actually distorted. To what extent it is distorted, the Analyze app will tell you based on the percentage, correct or not? So percentages that are higher is showing the disturbance. Okay, so from a scale of 0 to 100, 50 is the best. The middle point is where, okay, there's no disturbance. So as it moves either higher than 50 or lower than 50, so that is the start of the disturbances. All right, so anything that's above 60%, very likely you will feel the symptoms, but sometimes you will also see percentages that are lower than 40, like 20%, 30%, that is actually disturbance as well, but it's actually quite chronic. Okay, now with this disturbance, what we can do is we can actually bring back the harmony. All right, so information like yeah, I hate you, you're no good, you're useless, these are all negative information that cause the disharmony, right? Over time, that particular area that that resonate with the information like you're useless, okay, I hate you, okay, that part becomes disharmonized. So what we need to do is to give the counter information to harmonize it back. That's all. Okay, so you can see here through this video, all right, some of you have seen this before. So this is how you can see here live that when you change the frequency from bad information to good information, you will see the restoration of the field. So this is what we can do by changing the input of the information first. So that's what we need to do. Change the information first. So if you have negative information, we use frequency. Every frequency is basically information that is good. So replace the information first, and then over time, it will be followed by the biological changes in the body. Okay, so when you use the Healy, each one of us carries different information. You never know what information is actually contained in another person, although their health situation is the same. Okay, so this is what happens is that when you use the Healy, okay, those that you see got IMF, QAF, okay, meaning that it is able to detect the individual differences, and then the Healy will respond accordingly to give you information that matches your field. Okay, so the same program used by different people will receive different set of frequency or information according to what the Healy device actually detect. All right, so when you wear, for example, the electrodes with the wristband, so from this acupoint here through the electrodes, it sends your information. That means whether, how does it know? Through the resistance. All right, so when the current try to move through, let's say, your meridian or through the water channels in your body, it can sense resistance. So when it goes to certain part of the organ, certain part of the body, this part here got so much resistance, cannot penetrate. Okay, now, so when you see the device, right, sometimes, no current really, it got blocked. So somewhere, somehow, when it moves, this part here get blocked, that part there get blocked. So the resistance, the flow of the current, how smooth, how fast, how easy it is to flow are actually all indicators that will tell the Healy where is your resistance. Okay, so which is the part that is more blocked. Okay, yeah. So it's just like the traffic condition. Certain parts are very, very smooth, but then you come to a bottleneck, then you know that they're doing the road repair over there. Okay, so that's how it actually do the detection. So when it detect, it will then match the information that you need, and that will comes out through the other end, goes into your body to go and neutralize and harmonize that particular area. Okay, yeah. So if you see IMF, that means it's based on one individual, okay, interacting with the Healy device. If you see QAF, most likely it will be the atmosphere program where it actually interact with various individuals within that range. Okay, so if you put the atmosphere program, and then at the surrounding there are 4 people, so the field of the 4 people is actually interacting with the MAGHEALY, and then all 4 are being corrected at the same time. What are frequencies? Information. All right, so what are genes or genetic information? Genetic code is also information. So that information turned into protein. So here, frequencies, those numbers basically carry a certain message, and this message is the one that the body can understand. Okay, yeah. All right, so when you run a program in the RED app, this is what you see. Correct? So there are different stages here. Usually, typically for a program, let's say a 60-minute program, you will find that the first 20 minutes, you will see this number, 352, for example, for 10 seconds. And then after that, the next one, 46.5, 10 seconds. So it gives bursts, 10-second bursts of that same frequency to harmonize. So the field that are easy to make the correction, like just now you saw how Marcus turned the thing and then it becomes back to normal again. So those that can change and be restored within that 10 seconds, these are the ones that will do the work. Now, there are some fields and different parts of the body that are more stubborn. That means the problem has been there for quite some time and the disturbance is a lot more. You will find that you will see this, the percentage, and then you will see the frequency. So this percentage here for each of the frequency, it will go from minus 99 all the way to 99%. Okay, so they will give, let's say, 2.7. So this is almost 81% corrected already. But for 5.6, like this one here, is 40% corrected. Okay, so they will have to make many attempts, send and then change a bit, send and then change a bit, send and then change a bit, until it is completely restored at 100%. Okay, then after that the number change, it will move on to the next one. So it actually work at it many times. So this is when you have something that is stubborn, all right, a disturbance that is something more severe. It's like a child, you know, certain child, right, you just tell them only, they say, oh okay, I know already, I won't do it again, right? So those are the ones that just need that 10-second reminder. Okay, now some are more stubborn. You know, you tell them once, doesn't get in, you know, then they will make the mistake again, and then you have to tell them. So it's like more naggy. Okay, so you have to be more patient and to do it. Yeah, so you see here 2.7 minus 99. Now sometimes the number went up to 40%, 50% already, then next moment it plunged back down to minus 80 again. Okay, so this is when they rebel. Okay, you do all the work already, they rebel, and then they go back to the disturbed state. So you have to do a bit more work again. Okay, then the last part, you will see that towards the end, probably the last 10-15 minutes, you will see a lot of kilohertz. Yeah, so every frequency is like very high frequency range here. This is to stabilize, to strengthen. Now this kind of very high frequencies also correspond to the higher emotions. Okay, love and compassion, joy, all that. Yeah, so this part here is also replacing the information of joy, compassion, good high frequency information for you. Okay, all right. So when you are running a program like this, basically you are sending the good information to harmonize and to balance your energetic field. Okay, so a little bit about myself. For those who are seeing me for the first time, I'm Christi Wong from Singapore. So I've been doing bioenergetic profiling since 2017 to solve different issues, to answer different questions related to life, whether it's health, relationships, or even business, or related to your career. And usually I will share a little bit about biology. Especially we're talking about the health today, so I will pull out a bit of biology, and then we will also talk about the meridian system. All right, and these are the books that I've collected for those who really want to go very deep into understanding how to use the Healy and MAGHEALY devices.